Hello and welcome back to HardReset.Info. In this video, I will show you how to fix battery drain on Samsung Galaxy XCover7 Pro. Let's begin. We can start with what you're normally seeing every day, your screen. Let's start with simply going into the settings and then moving around into display. Here are a couple of things that we want to change first in order to improve our battery. The very first one is simply switching from light to dark. Why? Most screens and phones nowadays are OLED, meaning that they need more battery to display brighter pixels and they need less in order to display less darker pixels. So, of course, if you are in the dark mode and most of your pixels are black, then your battery doesn't need to work as hard in order to display those pixels to you. Understood? Good. Now going further, we have brightness. Of course, the more bright phone we have, the more brighter already bright pixels are, so the more battery we need. If you would stay on this level of brightness, our battery would soon drop tremendously lower and faster. So we want to make sure that your brightness is not as high, and also I would advise you to turn off the brightness, though this does really depend on what you want to do and what you like about your phone, how you use it, since adaptive brightness sometimes may help you and sometimes may not. As you can see, we already dropped by 1%, that's pretty funny. Though if we do have adaptive brightness enabled, there is a simple issue with random bumps in brightness which will increase, and in result our battery will decrease. It's pretty self-explanatory, though it really depends on whether or not you trust this feature or not. Lastly, speaking about this section, we can scroll down and simply change the screen timeout. Currently it is set to 2 minutes, which is pretty good. I mean, like, it's pretty known and acceptable value, though I do know many people who have it set to 10 minutes. And usually I'm like, why? You are leaving your phone behind and then it will continue to run for 10 minutes. And that's a lot of battery power that's just going to waste because you're not even using your phone anyway. You're far away from it. So instead I would simply advise you to lower it down. I think like 1 or 2 minutes are probably good enough, especially 2 minutes are good enough for me because, you know, I'm recording the video right now, so whenever I talk and I don't click anything, sometimes the phone may disable itself. But for normal users, I would simply go with a basic 1 minute. By default it's 30 seconds, it may be too low for some people, but yeah. Anyway, we can now go into other part of our tutorial, and it's the wallpaper. This wallpaper is fine. It's not live wallpaper, it consists of mostly basic image, like most of the colors here are just one flat color, but there is a simple problem with that, it's a bright color. If you would want to have a much better resolution and sorry, not resolution, if you would like to have a much better battery life, of course, I would also advise you to simply go, let me fix that real quick, and also that. I would advise you to go to wallpaper and style, go to change wallpapers, and in here we have basic colors. And as you can see, the darkest one is this dark blue. If we would switch it and switch it to both screens, we would see that suddenly our wallpaper is black, and that's incredibly good because, as I said before, OLED screens are known for wasting more battery whenever you have more bright pixels, and with a darker wallpaper we just reduce the amount of pixels on our screen that are brighter. That's incredibly useful. Anyway, we can now go and simply talk about control center real quick. The easiest way to disable your battery drain and basically fix it is to disable functions on your phone that you're not currently using. The most common ones that are known for being turned on all the time are those three: the location, Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. Of course, you could switch Wi-Fi for mobile data, which is even worse, since you're not only wasting your battery but also your mobile data, of course. And the problem with that is the fact that we don't really need Wi-Fi all the time. It's maybe good, like, receiving new notifications and all of that, but if you don't care about those, then it's okay to simply disable it. And the Bluetooth too. And location is debatable. Whenever we try to turn it off, we'll see that our phone is now screaming that, "Hey, but I need that location access, can you please give it back to me?" Now, you may seem that it's a little bit sketchy and maybe there are some background schemes, maybe they are selling your information, your location, all of that. It could be possible, like, I'm not saying it's not. The problem with location is that many functions, many applications actually depend on that location, and I don't get me even started on things like Find My Device or maps or like things that need location to function correctly. The advantage of this is that whenever I would try to activate our maps, for example, which are right here, then normally it would automatically switch and activate our location, or it will scream that it has no location access. As you can see, it's pretty empty since we don't have... Oh, that's pretty cool. Since we don't have anything here. But whenever we activate location, then we'll actually use it. Whenever we stop using the application that needs location, we can simply go back and deactivate it. It's a pretty common thing to do, to just actively not use functions that waste your battery. And speaking of actively not using stuff, we can do the same with applications. If we want to check which applications waste the most battery, we can always simply go to the settings, and in the settings, you can go into battery. In the battery, if we scroll down a little, here we have our battery usage. As you can see, it's our full battery activity, and as you can see, it is pretty good. The screen on time was 29 minutes, and we didn't waste a lot of battery. Now, as you can see, there is no app usage. It's kind of a lie, since I did use settings, like settings should count, but for obvious reasons it does not. If you would go and activate like Play Store and let it run for a moment, then it will probably appear in the battery usage. But let's say we do have a battery usage and, for example, Facebook was on top of the list. It was used the most and it wasted the most of the battery. What do you do then? The easiest solution is to simply do the obvious thing and delete the parasite that is wasting your battery. Though it appears that surprisingly I do not have a Facebook right now. That's pretty cool. But let's say it was something from the Samsung or whatever. It doesn't really matter. All it matters is the fact that we can go to battery activity, and from that we can go into applications which are right here. Then we want to find the application that usually shows up at the top of the battery usage list. Let's quickly assume it's the Chrome, but once again it could be like Facebook or anything. Like most social media apps, Netflix and all of that tend to waste a lot of battery, so it's pretty important to manage it. And now, as you can see, we can go to permissions. We can remove permissions that are wasting our battery. For example, location. Having location access all the time isn't that great. And if we go here to battery, we can set it from optimized to restricted. Usually you can do this with any kind of applications that are known for wasting your battery, but it will restrict its usage also. As you can see, it won't really work in the background. You may not receive notifications at all, or you may receive them, but they will be delayed. Like unpredictable things may happen, but one thing is known for sure: your battery drain should be resolved by now. And of course, lastly, we can just simply show that you have the option to go to battery, power saving, and to simply enable it. And as you can see, enabling the power saving will actually automatically enable few things that I already talked about. For example, dark mode, lower screen timeout, less brightness. The set motion smoothness to standard is also pretty important. I actually forgot about it, but it will basically always switch it to 60 Hz. So yeah, I do think that's all for this video. If you found it useful, remember to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.